The No Child Left Behind Act has become more of a hindrance than a help, and it needs to be revoked. Education specialists and Whittaker, along with others, believe the No Child Left Behind Act has been proved to be fundamentally flawed. The act is causing the education among students to drop, rather than make it increase. Although some argue the No Child Left Behind Act forces teachers to pay attention to those being neglected, it also puts entirely too much stress on teachers. Too much emphasis on standardized testing sets standards too high for school systems. All these effects of the No Child Left Behind Act are causing the quality of education among students to decrease tremendously. It also has resulted in anxious teachers because these standards have been set so high that it is impossible for teachers to meet them, essentially making the teachers' ability to teach less effective. The No Child Left Behind Act requires all school systems to meet adequate yearly progress every year. It is a yearly academic proficiency goal set to reach 100% by the 2013 and 2014 school years. If adequate yearly progress is not met several years in a row by a school, that school becomes at risk of state authorities coming in and taking over the school. When state authorities take over schools, they are able to teach whatever and however they please. All teachers invest time, money, and hard work into their own personal education in order to do what they do. With that said, teachers do not want the government coming in and taking over what they have earned the right to do so themselves. So in fear of being taken over by the government, teachers become stressed over making sure that they carry out their duties effectively. Having stressful teachers will eventually cause the quality of students' education to hinder the teacher's ability to teach. Due to the fear of not meeting adequate yearly progress and having the government take over school systems, teachers will focus on teaching standardized testing to ensure that adequate yearly progress is met. The focus on standardized testing is causing curriculums to shrink. According to educator Richard Rothstein, important skills such as critical thinking, citizenship, self-discipline, responsibility, and conflict resolution skills are neglected because of the focus on standardized testing. These skills are not only important for the future careers of students, but also for their everyday lives. Neglecting these skills will also create a problem in the future of society. Today's students are tomorrow's doctors, lawyers, politicians, and other important people in society. If education is neglected, good leaders will not be produced for the future. People who have made important contributions to America did not become successful by learning how to take standardized tests. Another important concept is that the No Child Left Behind Act also sets standards that are unrealistic. Jamie Arson, a journalist, wrote that the Act sets adequate yearly progress to reach 100% proficiency by 2014. This goal is unachievable. All students have different mental capacities. When a 100 on a regular test may be normal for one student, a 70 on the same test may be normal to another student. Every student operates at different levels, and sometimes a C average is the best a student can do. Richard Rothstein says, even if we eliminated all disparities based on socioeconomic status, human variability prevents a single standard from challenging all. The normal IQ range is 85 to 115, includes about 2/3 of the population. Challenging achievement for those at 115 would be impossibly hard for those at 85. And challenging achievement for those at 85 would be too easy for those at 115. The fact that the goals are impossible to reach puts even more pressure on teachers. Having more pressure on teachers than they already have means teaching skills are declining even more. Although Alex Rich and Denise Greer, supporters of the No Child Left Behind Act, believe that the Act is successfully carrying out its goals, it is only successful because of the emphasis put on standardized testing. When teachers are strictly teaching what's going to be on tests, of course there are going to be signs of improvement. Allowing the students to know ahead of time what is going to be on the test gives them an advantage of knowing what to study for. It is basically like giving the students answers to a test, which is not helping them because it does not require them to think very hard. Preparing students strictly for standardized testing is harming their overall education because they are missing important academic skills. The No Child Left Behind Act is indeed flawed. It is harming our teachers' ability to teach, pushing standardized testing, and setting impossible goals. The No Child Left Behind Act was intended to increase education, and although some believe it has accomplished its goals, it has done just the opposite. If the No Child Left Behind Act flaws continue to be overlooked, our future leaders will lack a good, solid, and reliable education. With that said, the No Child Left Behind Act needs to be revoked.